Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Fallen London. In the last episode we started the Noises from Upstairs exceptional story, and we had a interesting time in a pub after meeting the dashing debunker. So this is the morning after, and we're just going to pick up after having quite a heavy night in a pub. Where could this possibly go? So the morning in Brine House. A chilly mist lingers in the streets. The haunted house awaits you perched on a clifftop, impatient, baleful, decrepit. So we can begin our work. You doubt the ghosts are early risers. Are we going to check this place out before the night? Kind of makes sense, I suppose. An eerie reception. The pub provides a functional, if greasy, breakfast. The debunker appears on time, immaculately dressed but quiet and irritable. Drinks 3 cups of strong tea. Together you approach the house on the cliff edge. Its weathered timbers loom over your heads, rotten beneath a few remaining flakes of paint. Something about the lane in front bothers you, but you cannot quite put your finger on it. The debunker squares his shoulders and pushes the front door. It swings open with a noise like a cat simultaneously yawning and shrieking. It's time to debunk. The hall of the haunted house. The air is stiff with musty vapour. Gloom gathers in the corners of the ceiling, and discoloured shapes on the stairs walls show where paintings have been removed. It seems colder in here than out on the cliffs. Looks like we have a few options. We can either investigate the drawing room, we can look outside, go upstairs, or investigate the cellar. Going to the cellar seems like a bad idea. So let's start at the top and work our way down. So we'll investigate the drawing room. It looks like it was comfortable years ago. Ruined. Damp has claimed this room. The chairs are sodden, the sideboard rotten, and a rather fine nautical chart of the stolen river is engulfed by mould. From the alignment of the bay windows, you guess this house belonged to a trading baron or some other entrepreneur who valued a view of the river. With the relocation of Brine House, the windows now face slightly upwards, gazing forever towards the false stars. Perhaps that is why the house was abandoned. You are noting small details. I guess we'll look outside. You prepare yourself. The wail of the front door hinges. Unseen. You open the front door and peer outside. Brine House is quiet. You examine the ground in front of the house again. Now you see what bothered you before. The dirt is smooth, even, too perfect for a disused drive on a clifftop. Somebody has brushed it down to disguise tracks. You gaze to tracks towards the main street, and there you see a few inches they missed. Wheel marks. Their course lies towards London. How very strange. Marks on the walls. Something has damaged the woodwork in the hall. Each individual mark is nothing. A scrape on the skirting board, a gouge in a door frame, scratches on the floorboards. But together they tell a story. Something bulky has been dragged through here without finesse. Perhaps more than once. You draw the debunker's attention. You're right, his eyes gleam. Heavy work for a ghost, Precisely at that moment, a loud bang sounds from the room above your head. And again, bang. Significant progress. You heard noises from upstairs. Should I go downstairs before I go upstairs? Let's go upstairs first. The splintered dead boards will hold your weight if you step only at their edges. Let's not fall through a staircase. The landing sags and creaks beneath your feet. Occasionally you hear an alarming crumble or snap. The banister wobbles to the touch. Should we open the attic? A hefty padlock secures the trapdoor to the frame. The debunker steadies you on a chair as you tackle the padlock. Despite the deterioration in the house, the bracket is quite secure. The high ceilings prevent you exerting enough force to break the padlock, or holding steady enough to pick it. You'll have to try again later. Okay, so we're looking for a key to get into the loft, or attic. Check the bedrooms. The house has 3 bedrooms. Their floor is inclined at a restful angle. The bedrooms nearest the river are in serious disrepair. Ragged curtains hanged across broken windows, and damp has gotten into the soft furnishings. A particularly elegant love seat has been half consumed by mould. Even crossing the threshold makes you cough. And the floorboards dip beneath your feet. Serious investigation is out of the question. The back bedroom is still usable, with an intact floor and 2 single beds. We should spend the night here, suggests the debunker. Let the ghosts come out to play. Check the bathroom. What is that in the bath? A butchered body? No, just the play of shadows from the taps. It was so vivid for a moment, its torso twisted, hands clawing at sightless eyes. You may not be bathing here until that particular impression fades. Perfume bottles rest on their sides, cracked empty. Dust lies thick in the basin and across the tiles. If somebody has manufactured a haunting in this house, they are not using the upstairs plumbing. Okay, I guess we'll go back downstairs. Oh wait, no, a discovery at floor level. The debunker has his head beneath a sideboard. Look at this, he says. The device is ridiculously simple. 2 planks are mounted together by a hinge. A wire lifts the top one, and when it drops, it makes a loud slap. The wire disappears into the wall. What irks me most, the debunker says, is that they got the plans for this out of a pamphlet. Not 1 inch of creativity. The moment is interrupted by slow, deliberate footsteps walking across the ceiling. Footsteps from the locked attic. The debunker rolls his eyes. Well, we can't get in because we don't have access to the attic, so go back downstairs. Oh, we can search the kitchen drawers. A rack of keys on hooks would be convenient, but drawers of junk will have to do. You rake through mismatched pieces of cutlery and lengths of leftover string. Double-headed matches? A telescopic monocle? Curious. Finally, you notice a tin which used to contain a velocipede repair kit. Velocipede, even, repair kit. Something rattles inside. A small key, about the right size for a padlock. This open the attic? Still haven't investigated the cellar. It's annoying me. Maybe I should go down there, but no, we'll go upstairs. We will open the attic. The key seems about the right size. Click. The debunker hovers as you mount a chair to stretch up. A fall from this position would probably take you over the banister. You slot your key into the lock. One might expect the cylinder to be stiff, but it turns easily. The lock springs open. Oh ho, says the debunker. Climb up the attic. The ladder is long gone, but that chair looks sturdy enough to hold your weight. Oh, that's the famous last words. A hard ascent. You catch the edges of the trapdoor and haul yourself up. The air is thick and stale. The attic is choked with tea chests and broken club cupboards. Other clutter is piled atop boxes and wedged into gaps. This could take a week to investigate, even with a squad of constables. You'd think we'll be okay. A figure in the shadows. He watches you from behind a wardrobe. He doesn't move. The debunker stays close as you approach the dim figure. After a few moments, he snorts. He raises the lantern to illuminate the purple gown. A tailor's dummy, he says. Every good attic should have one. You move on, but a few minutes later you look back to see him still examining the gown on the dummy. He notices your attention. My mother loved this colour. She was so particular about fabric. All the haberdashers hated her. Is it your imagination, or his voice a little unsteady? You do not understand. Desks and boxes. It's a miracle the floor still supports all of this. The debris of a career. You rifle through cases of old documents. Shipping manifests, customs declarations, accounts and ledgers. The debunker lifts every single one up to check beneath and behind it. He finds nothing. As you tackle yet another box, he pauses to survey the remainder of your task. There is the reality of my occupation, you know. For each thrilling moment of revelation, each gasp from the audience, there are hours, weeks of tedious work, always waiting for some villain to whack you on the back of the head. He gives a long sigh. Perhaps I should find another line of work. You found a little something here, but his point is fair. You are an intruder here. Wary of bones. The debunker sits at the only window, his head bowed. He looks fragile. I know it's here, some mechanism, a little cleverer than the one downstairs perhaps, but he gestures the clutter. It's going to be the same old tricks. We need to confront the people who are doing this. He rests his face in his palms for a moment, then looks up at you. I'm really very tired. We should spend the night in the house and see what transpires. Let's go check the cellar before we sleep for the night. Oh, it's locked. You give the timbers an exploratory shove. Everything else about this house seems fragile, but the cellar door holds firm. The debunker examines the handle and fittings. The rust covers the join, he says. The handle surface is flaky and the keyhole clogged up. All as you would expect in an abandoned building. So why are there scratch marks on the floor? You look where he points. An arc has been carved into the muck, corresponding to where the edge of the door would swing open. You examine the door further, but you still cannot shift it. How curious. Well, that leaves us with no other choice than to turn in for the night. Would you mind taking the first watch? The debunker removes his jacket and tie. His eyes are heavy. The debunker slips quickly into a deep sleep. It seems wise not to wander around the house and leave him undefended. You become aware of a tapestry of tiny noises. Some you can identify, the creaking of tired timbers, the scratch of a bat on the roof, a murmur of voices from the Pip and Pickle. But there are others, faint clicks and drips and snaps and rustles. The debunker's breath runs through it all, slow and oblivious. You stick it out for nearly 4 hours, until everything begins to sound like approaching footsteps. Then you rouse the debunker and make for the other bed. Would you be able to sleep after listening to all of that for 4 hours? You are asleep. Something has disturbed you. Try to wake up. It is difficult to rise from oblivion. Oh dear. You were in a deep dream. Already you have forgotten what it was about. Quiet footsteps. Is somebody in the room? I hope it's the debunker. Open your eyes. A low voice cajoles you. Someone, or something, is nearby. It does not sound like a threat. You look towards it. A crack in the darkness. Light spills through and bathes your eyes. It is silver, sad and hopeful, ancient and elusive, infusing you for barely an instant. Then it is gone, and the footsteps withdraw into the darkness. The after image lingers, fading slowly. You see things differently. What just happened? So, this is another one of those choices. We can either think we had a vision, or we can think we've been drugged. Logically, more likely to have been drugged. But in this world of fallen London, having visions is pretty much normal everyday business. So, it could be either or. But for the case of this, I think I'm going to go with drugged. To me, that makes sense. That does kind of throw shade on the dashing debunker, though, because he's the only person who could have done it. Unless there was like poison in the dust. You struggle back to consciousness. The debunker pushes himself up in the other bed, drowsily and startled. Apparently he failed to keep watch. You are lucky not to have a knife at your throat. Well, that explains how I could have been drugged. His eyes weave across the room. What am I looking at? He says. You are still in the same room, but it has changed. The floor is level. Years of neglect have receded, and between the curtains, strong as the finest stage lighting in the antimacassar, streams pale, unfiltered moonlight. The two of you stagger out to the landing. The entire house has transformed. Wow. The boards of the landing are strong, with an attractive sheen. Boxes of ordnance are piled in the corners. At the head of the stairs, a window provides a glimpse of the road to London, wide and busy with late-night traffic. What's happened? The mould spots have withdrawn, leaving pristine walls and furniture. The house is level once more, and it appears to be occupied. The renewed bedchambers seem grand, romantic in the streaming moonlight. Where there were discoloured patches on the walls, there now hangs paintings of brave expeditions and fierce naval conflicts. Yet there are other officers, jackets draped over chairs, shaving mirrors and boot polish, where there should be handkerchiefs and jewellery boxes. You glance at the debunker. He drifts through the doorways as if dreaming, yet he seems a little more solid than anything else here. In the hall, you glance at the attic trapdoor. Have things changed up there? Let's go find out. An easy ascent. You climb the rungs, alert for trouble. The debunker follows, but his steps seem detached, automatic. The attic is no longer cluttered. Camp beds are arranged along the length in military rows. Each has a small pack and a red uniform jacket tucked beneath the canvas. On the wall, a tattered flag shows a red cross inside a blue circle, inside a white star. Don't recognise that flag. A red cross inside a blue circle inside a white star. Search for mechanical devices. You never did find the source of the footsteps, and the clutter is gone. Nothing. It takes barely 10 minutes to do a comprehensive search of the entire attic. You find nothing. No wires or strings, no hidden paths or moving panels. The debunker stands and watches you work. I don't think the footsteps came from here, he says. I think they were in another place. Or we, now, are in another place. Or we are seeing another place. What he's saying makes no sense, but the idea that somebody renovated the entire house overnight makes even less sense. Next we can leave the attic, go downstairs. The hall is scrubbed and polished. The drawing room walls have been commandeered as display boards. One features newspaper reports covering divisions within the Revolutionary Council. Another is a rose gallery of faces and handwritten annotations. Some of the faces have been crossed out. Let's examine the newspaper pages. You recognise the publications, but the headlines are different. The newspaper reports begin by condemning the Revolutionary Council's ascent to power in London. Although this ends months of bitter street fighting, the publication's stance changes abruptly with the appointment of new editor. Although still reporting divisions within the council, Posturing by the Septemberists, corruption inside the Marchists, it reserves its condemnation for Coldstream counter-revolutionaries with horrifying stories of civilians maimed in explosions or trampled in riots. Nearby, a map of London is peppered with green pins corresponding to older explosions. There are also several red pins, which do not seem to match any reported incident. This is getting very strange. Scan the rogues gallery. An elusive style is unflattering. The men and women on the wall have been captured with the spare strokes of a court artist. Attention given to distinguishing or unattractive features. You can only assume the crossed out people have been eliminated or captured, and the remainder are targets. They are divided beneath two headings, March and September. The debunker freezes in front of one drawing in the latter group. He looks directly at it and taps it. This is my mother. What does her presence here mean? What can you do about it? There is one area of this house we have not explored. It may have the answers. The debunker points one elegantly manicured finger downstairs. Let's just have a quick look outside. The moon is out there. The actual moon. You open the front door and peer outside. From here, you have an uninterrupted view of the dock and the ships bobbing on the moon-drizzled water. A rigger works late, tightening the lines on the Pristine jib. Sailors cluster outside the wharfside pub, puffing on pipes. Above it all, stars hang in the sky. Real stars, their long-lost constellations etched in a cloudless panorama. Yet the scene has an intangible tension, as if fighting could break out at any moment. I guess we'll go down to the cellar. The cellar door, something gleams on its frame. Cunning craftsmanship. By moonlight you can see something you couldn't before. Two odd sections of frame. One a foot above the lock and one below. They are iron brackets, textured beautifully to imitate the wood grain. You trace them with your fingers and feel them shift. You press harder. Click. The door swings free, revealing a cutout around the lock. Its mechanism remains in place, attached to the frame. You glance at the debunker. His know-it-all manner has dropped. He stares at the doorway like he expects a sea monster to emerge from it. Let's investigate the cellar. The door hangs open to reveal uninviting blackness. Heavy-footed spectres. Dank, salty air fills your nostrils as you examine the steps down to the cellar. The debunker holds out his lantern. By its light you can see footprints in the dust. Recent footprints leading both up and down. You exchange a glance and descend in silence. You cannot form a consistent picture of the cellar. You see racked wine bottles. Look elsewhere, but when your gaze returns, there are crates stacked there. Let's take a bottle. You could certainly do with a drink. An elusive refreshment. You simply cannot get a hold of a bottle. Your eyes tell you it is there. You can wrap your fingers around it and sense the chill, but when you try to lift it, it winks out of existence. You blink and the crates are there again. You turn to the debunker for help. He seems deep in calculation and more than a little lost. Okay, let's search the crates then. The crates are full of empty boxes. Boxes lined with mirrors. These are... The debunker grabs one from your hand. Mirror catch boxes, he snaps. And they gave me sunlight. This is what came inside. What it came inside. We may have stumbled on a den of sunlight smugglers. See, they have the sun symbol on one face. He turns it round. Stamped on the back is a perfect crescent moon. Okay, so find something here beneath dirt and burlap. The service entrance. Another trapdoor. A modern installation. You wretch it up to see a square shaft descending to a watery floor. Rungs have been hammered into the wall. Across the cellar you spot a rope and pulley. I know what's happened. We've been dosed with moonlight, breathes the debunker. Some spiritualists use it to convince their victims that they're seeing through the veil. It will wear off, but until then, we can't trust our eyes. I can't even see what you're holding. It looks to me like you're playing the air above a solid floor. Perhaps I took a heavier dose. It would be wise to wait for the visions to clear, but the noise of the trapdoor opening will have alerted whoever is down here. You've discovered the layer of fakers. Significant progress. Descended. It is time to end this. This will lead you to the climax of the exceptional story. Be sure you have seen all you want of the house before continuing. Oh, I think I'll leave this for the next episode. Annoyingly, I apologise, it's a bit of a cliffhanger. We are coming up on how long I'd like this video to be. Hopefully there's enough there for one more video, otherwise it's going to be a very short "this is the end" video. But please like, subscribe, let me know what you think. Your comments are greatly appreciated, especially on this wonderful story. I'm very much loving this. It's very cool. There seems to be quite a lot going on with the revolutionaries, so if anyone wants to, tell me what time period I'm in right now, that would be really cool, because I don't recognise any of it. But, yep, like, subscribe, let me know what you think. Your comments are greatly appreciated, and as always, I will see you next time.